In this fast-paced world, where everyone seems to be racing against the clock, juggling responsibilities, and striving to prove their worth, there's a phrase that often slips through the cracks, a phrase that carries more weight than you might think. I'm fine. Just two little words, right? But they can be as light as a feather or as heavy as a ton of bricks. You might hear someone say it, and it might sound casual. But trust me, those words can hide a mountain of pain. People who say I'm fine often aren't okay at all. They've been trained really, trained to bury their wounds deep down, where no one can see them. It's like they've mastered the art of wearing a mask. They smile, they laugh, but inside, their hearts are drowning in a sea of unspoken struggles. They've been conditioned to believe that showing vulnerability is a sign of weakness, and so they keep it all inside, whispering their pain instead of shouting it out loud. Their hurt doesn't scream, it whispers. It's a quiet kind of suffering that lingers, especially at night when the world is asleep, and they're left alone with their thoughts. It's a familiar feeling for many of us, isn't it? The moments when no one else is watching, when the weight of everything feels like too much to bear. These are the folks who learned early on that the world cheers for strength, but turns a blind eye to struggle. Society loves a comeback story, but often forgets about those who are just trying to stay afloat. So they build up this protective wall, a fortress made of, I'm fine. You might know someone like this. Maybe they're the friend who always lends an ear but never shares their own battles. Or perhaps they're the jokester in your group, cracking jokes to mask their sadness. Maybe they're that quiet warrior, carrying everyone else's burdens while their own remain unacknowledged. The truth is, people don't hide their feelings because they want to. They do it because, at some point, they tried to open up, and the world told them to shut it down. Maybe someone said, "You're too dramatic," or "You should be grateful for what you have." Or perhaps they were met with silence, which can be just as deafening. Their hearts become rooms filled with unanswered questions. Why didn't you care? Why didn't you stay? Why wasn't I enough? So they closed their doors gently, putting up a sign that reads, "No worries, I'm fine." But inside, they're tired of always being the strong one, tired of pretending, tired of saying they're okay when they're not. They're exhausted from fixing everyone else, while silently falling apart. They say I'm fine because they don't want to be a burden. They don't want pity or sympathy. They just want to keep their messy truth hidden away. Sometimes, deep down, they hope that someone will look into their eyes and see beyond the facade. Someone who will say, "No, tell me what's really going on." Imagine the relief of having someone listen without judgment. Someone who cares without conditions. Someone who doesn't just walk away when things get tough. But most of the time, no one asks. So, these silent warriors become experts in emotional disguise. They laugh the loudest, help the most, and love the deepest, all while carrying the heaviest of burdens. Their hearts turn into battlefields, where every memory is a wound, and every wound is hidden behind a smile. Psychologists often describe this behavior as a defense mechanism. When you feel emotionally unsafe, showing vulnerability can feel like a risk, so your brain protects you with those two simple words. I'm fine. Some people say it because they fear rejection. Others don't want to bother anyone, while some struggle to find the right words to express the chaos swirling inside them. They might think, what if they think I'm weak? Or what if they leave? Or what if no one cares? Their silence can feel like a prison. They lock their pain away, hide the key, and pretend that the door doesn't even exist. But here's the sacred truth. The strongest people aren't always the ones who flaunt their muscles or achievements. The real strength lies in those who keep pushing forward, even when they re-battling their own demons. Every night, they lie awake, replaying their regrets like an endless loop. Every morning, they don their armor of strength, afraid that if they show their true selves, someone might see the tears lurking just beneath the surface. They love deeply, give freely, and sacrifice quietly. Yet when they need help, they swallow their needs and whisper, I'm fine. They worry that opening up will only make things worse, that showing their heart will lead to more heartbreak. Some of them grew up in homes where feelings weren't allowed, where crying wasn't comforted, and pain wasn't acknowledged. So, silence became their norm. Suffering became their private battle, and loneliness became a habit. As adults, They often don't know how to ask for help, even when they are desperately in need. Sometimes they test the waters. They drop small hints, pause before saying, "I'm fine," hoping someone will catch the truth hidden in their words. If no one do, they smile and quickly change the subject, pushing their feelings back down. The saddest part: these are often the people who care the most. They don't want anyone else to feel the weight of loneliness or sadness that they carry. So, they choose to be strong for everyone else, except for themselves. If you ever meet someone who says, "I'm fine," a bit too quickly, take a moment to look closer. Their eyes might be screaming for help, their silence might be begging for comfort, and their smile might be guarding a heart that's quietly breaking. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to ask again. Really, how are you? Ask gently. Ask patiently. Ask as if you genuinely want to know, because behind that simple, "I'm fine," could be a story they've never shared, a heartbreak they've never healed from, a trauma they still carry, a fear they can't articulate, or a loneliness that gnaws at them day after day. Remind them that they are allowed to feel, they are allowed to cry, they are allowed to ask for help. They are human, and everyone deserves someone who notices the pain behind the smile, someone who listens, even when the words are quiet, someone who stays, no matter what. To anyone watching this who knows that pain, let me tell you, you matter. Your feelings matter. Your scars matter. Your story matters. You don't have to hide. You don't have to be strong every single day. And you certainly don't have to pretend. You are allowed to say, "I'm not okay." Healing begins when honesty replaces silence. Connection happens when hearts speak freely. Strength emerges when vulnerability is embraced. If you find yourself hiding behind the words, "I'm fine," know that you're not alone. You're not invisible. There are people out there who genuinely care, who want to understand, and who love you just as you are. Maybe today is the day you take a small step. A whisper instead of a scream. A message instead of silence. A moment of truth instead of pretending. Because your pain deserves more than just 2 words. Your heart deserves help, and your soul deserves peace. You deserve someone who sees you, who understands the battles you're fighting, even if they're not visible on the surface. Until then, if all you can muster is, "I'm fine," know that I hear you, I see you, I care, and you're not alone in this journey.